In the near future, food shortage and climate change put Earth through an extinction-level event. Riots and protests take over the streets and eventually humanity reaches its breaking point in 2242. A fleet of 42 ships known as the Ark will take 300,000 survivors to another planet, which has been named New Earth, in another solar system several light years away. 19 billion people are left behind to die on Earth. Noah isn't one of the chosen ones but his pregnant girlfriend Haley is, so they make a plan to board the last ship together. However, the guards quickly separate them, and Haley is dragged inside while the desperate crowd pushes down the fence and the guards have to open fire. On the ship, Haley listens to her dad Admiral Kiernan give a welcoming speech, but she's soon distracted when she sees Noah running toward her. She takes the chance to introduce him to Kiernan but doesn't say he's her boyfriend, just a guy who helped her reach the ship. Apparently Kiernan is furious about the pregnancy and would get violent with the father. Now all passengers must be put in cryosleep, except for a few guards, the mechanics, the doctors, and the janitors. Since Noah is pretending to be a janitor, he stays up and says goodbye to Hale before she's put into stasis. The crew that stays awake gets ready for the quantum jump, and Noah accidentally sits on Clay's place. Then the ship goes into hyperspeed and immediately arrives at another galaxy. Time was dilated and the jump that took just seconds equals 30 years on Earth, meaning everyone they left behind is dead. Afterward the crew shares a meal and they watch how the guards find a stowaway, tasing the man down before throwing him out the airlock. Commander Stanley reminds the crew that they have 182 days until they reach New Earth, and until then, he's in charge because Kiernan is also in stasis. In the evening, Noah discovers he's bunking with Clay, who isn't interested in being friends with him. The next morning Noah visits Haley to talk to her while she sleeps, but he's interrupted by a hologram from Clay who reminds him to get to work. Days begin to pass and janitors like Noah have to work hard to keep everything clean while the rest of the crew just hangs out and plays cards. However, nobody ever notices that something is in the shadows keeping an eye on everything. One evening, Noah sees Clay and another crew member sneak around with mysterious containers. Sometime later, the ship's alarm sends out an alert that someone tried to access the reactor, which only the Admiral has access to. A furious Stanley goes to check the reactor room and is startled by a weird sound in the ceiling, but nothing happens. Getting worried, Stanley asks Noah if he's noticed any suspicious activity, but Noah doesn't tell him about Clay. Stanley explains that many rebels think humanity shouldn't destroy another planet and will try to sabotage the mission, so he reminds Noah to report anything strange. Then Noah goes to grab more cleaning products and accidentally spills the moxicell, which is so strong that makes a hole in the table. Meanwhile, Shady is having a drink in his room and doesn't see a weird creature getting inside the bottle. As soon as he drinks it, he notices a strange taste, and moments later his stomach starts bothering him. This doesn't stop him from sharing a smoke with Blue, but their enjoyment is interrupted when Shady begins feeling unbearable pain. Shady starts to panic, so Blue grabs him to calm him down and gives him a drink to help with the pain. For a second Shady feels better, but suddenly he explodes, covering Blue in the room with blood. At that moment, something in the blood attacks Blue. Back to Noah, he finishes working and tries to contact Clay, but he isn't answering. Noah goes looking for him and finds him making a weird mix with moxicell, only to suddenly be startled by the hologram appearing behind him. Thinking he's in trouble, Noah runs away and bumps into Teak, so he reports Clay is making a bomb. At that moment Clay shows up and Teak reveals to be on his side, so together they capture Noah and take him away. Once Noah has been properly handcuffed, Clay's team holds him down and makes him drink something that turns out to be moonshine. All this time they've been making alcohol, they're just keeping it a secret from Stanley because drinking goes against the rules. Sometime later, the crew throws a birthday party for Ortega and drinks a lot, so Stanley learns about the alcohol anyway. After the celebration, Ortega leaves the group to look for Blue, only to find him welding alone. When he turns around, he shows his face in an awful state and grabs Ortega to start smashing her head against the wall. Meanwhile, Noah tries to access the ship's computer to modify his information. Clay catches him red-handed, so Noah explains he's the dude who knocked up the Admiral's daughter. Before Clay can decide on a punishment, Stanley calls the crew over because he's found the remains of Shady's body. Since Blue is missing and Ortega disappeared after looking for him, Stanley thinks Blue did it, but Clay is skeptical. The crew then begins searching the ship to find the missing people, and Noah notices Teak staring at the reactor for too long. At that moment Clay announces he's found Ortega dead on the ground. The others keep looking and Noah eventually finds Blue, who is welding the door to the Admiral's quarters. Noah alerts the rest of the crew and they immediately come over with weapons, but Clay tries to reason with Blue first. Unfortunately, words do nothing and Blue jumps on Shu, killing him in seconds. The rest of the crew quickly opens fire and kills Blue too. Afterward they take the bodies to the infirmary so Susan can perform an autopsy while Stanley locks the rest of the crew in their rooms. Susan notices that something is dissolving Blue from the inside out before she starts collecting samples, which look pretty nasty and the computer can't recognize them. Then she reaches into Blue's body, only to find some black goo but not a single organ. Meanwhile, Teak finally manages to find the security footage of Shady's death. After Stanley sees what happened, he unlocks Clay's room and the group goes to see Susan, who explains a parasite ate all of Blue's organs and then controlled his body. Now that parasite is loose on the ship. She also made a head count to make sure nobody was missing, and she discovered that Noah is a stowaway. Stanley gets furious, but Clay defends Noah, so in the end Stanley just hits him as punishment. Then the team reaches a conclusion. The parasite must have been brought aboard by someone who wants to sabotage the project. Clay wants to wake up the Admiral, but Stanley refuses and points out nobody has access to his room. Then he decides it's time to throw Noah out for being a stowaway, but before they can leave, Teak notices the bodies are missing. Suddenly a zombified version of the bodies attacks the group. Ortega tackles Noah while Shu goes after Teak, who keeps shooting his weapon to no avail. Blue pushes Susan and Clay while Shu knocks Teak down and Stanley takes over shooting at him, but his bullets do nothing either and Shu reaches out to kill him with his fist. Ortega is about to kill Noah too, but Susan manages to grab a weapon and starts shooting, keeping the attackers back to give the group the chance to escape. While they go down the corridors, they notice the other cabins are being unlocked too, which only Stanley should be able to do. It's then revealed he's also become a zombie and he's leading the other dead people to infect the rest of the crew. Clay's group hides in the moonshine room and they're horrified to hear how everyone else is getting killed and transformed into a monster. When the zombies come after them, Clay finds a flamethrower and uses it to burn them down, setting off the fire suppression unit, which makes it hard to see. The zombies suddenly disappear, so the group leaves the room and walks through the fog that has filled the corridors. They come across Lincoln, who quickly joins them at the same time a zombie attacks. They shoot the creature down, but another one grabs Teak and drags him away into the fog. Clay rushes in to rescue his friend and the others open fire to cover him, allowing both men to return safely. Afterward, Lincoln suggests using the escape pods, but since they aren't near New Earth, the group prefers to go to the security bay without him. Soon Lincoln reaches a pod and manages to launch it, but as it leaves the ship, it's revealed a zombie has followed him and immediately kills him. Back to Clay's group, they get to the security bay as Stanley shows up to grab Clay and try to kill him with his new mutated tongue, but Noah comes out and shoots Stanley down before running with Clay into the security bay, where they lock the door. For the next few hours, the zombies keep on pounding on the door and most of the team is ready to give up, but Noah refuses to abandon Haley. At that moment he notices the air ducts and realizes he can reach the Admiral through them, so he starts crawling inside while Clay's hologram guides him in the right direction. While Noah moves trying to make as little noise as possible to go unnoticed, Teak makes a confession to Clay and Susan. He was the one that brought the infection aboard, thinking it would kill them all quickly. He's one of the rebels that thinks humanity doesn't deserve a second chance. A furious Clay throws him against the wall, promising something worse later. At that moment the zombies notice Noah and try to reach through the vent grills to catch him, but Noah kicks the hands away and keeps going until he finally reaches the room with the Admiral. He doesn't have access to the computer, so he just forces the cryo chamber open with a crowbar. The team tells Kiernan everything and proceeds to interrogate Teak, who explains humans brought the parasite back. Kiernan proceeds to wake up his whole team and realizes Noah is the one who knocked Haley up, so he promises to deal with him later. Once the team is properly armed they go down the corridor, where the zombies are still trying to break down the door to the security bay. A few of them turn around to attack the team, but the others finally open the door and attack Clay's group. A shootout ensues and little by little, they begin bringing the horde down, but soon the zombies learn how to dodge the shots and attack the crew directly. Now everyone begins fighting hand to hand and Blue chases Noah while a few zombies reach Teak to kill him. As both sides of the fight lose people, Blue corners Noah in the supply room and begins beating him up. Noah tries to defend himself, but Blue tackles him to the ground. When Blue is about to kill him, Noah manages to reach the Moxicell and throws it at Blue, finally killing him for good by disintegrating him. Afterward Noah returns to the corridor to see his team has lost his fight. Kiernan says a few final words for Haley and activates an explosive, blowing up all the zombies. Noah, Clay, and Susan think it's finally over, but at that moment the remaining zombie body parts start to reconnect. The trio runs away to retrieve the moonshine while the zombie parts come together to form a giant mutant that uses Kiernan's hand to open the door to the reactor core. Suddenly the ship starts shaking and the computer voice announces the time to reach New Earth is going down by the second, which means the zombie is overheating the reactor. This has been the parasite's goal since the beginning, that's why Blue had been trying to reach the Admiral at the beginning. It wants to reach New Earth and kill all remaining humans. After using the moonshine to build a new kind of flamethrower, the trio goes out and starts burning down zombies. The horde has grown rapidly in numbers because they've started to infect passengers too, wanting as many as possible to help with the reactor. The trio burns down as many zombies as they can, but there are too many of them, so Clay tells Noah to find Haley and escape in a pod while he and Susan cover him. Noah runs and hides from a few zombies before reaching the cryo room, where he immediately wakes up Haley and gives her a weapon. The couple then reunites with Clay and Susan and together they try to reach the escape pod, but at that moment, the giant zombie mutant shows up and kills Susan. A furious Clay tries to burn the monster down, but unfortunately the creature brings him down too. The countdown to reach New Earth has reached 15 days, so the couple rushes to escape. A few zombies try to attack them, but they quickly bring them down and keep going. Once they reach the escape pod, Haley gets inside while Noah goes to start the launch sequence. At that moment the giant zombie shows up, so Noah hits him with the moonshine thrower before shooting directly at the fire suppression unit to trigger the fog again. Even with difficult visibility, the creature manages to hit Noah, but luckily he lands next to the computer. After initiating the launch sequence, Noah comes out and shoots the zombie with all the moonshine he has left, which manages to burn down all the mutations until there's only the parasite left. Afterward Noah rushes to join Haley in the pod as they get a message from Clay, who says goodbye as he expels the pod from the ship. Then he starts the ship's self-destruct sequence to bring down all the zombies and the parasite in one huge explosion. Moments later Noah and Haley reach New Earth and immediately find a child, who turns out to be infected. As the kid comes after them, they also see a giant monster in the distance, so the couple gets ready to keep on fighting. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.